this what we're doing?
Yeah. Is it good? Hello and welcome everybody. VurbWes here, joined by Chase Stallo in a new washed up Dirt Bikers Association studio. And ironically enough, we're here today to talk about the opposite of washed up dirt bikers. We're going to talk about very, very good dirt bikers that are future washed up dirt bikers. But as of right now, they're very good. We just got back from Loretta Lynn's. It's Thursday, and I'm finally just now capable of my brain itself being able to talk again, walk again, put one step in front of the other. Chase, you didn't go?
I did not. I was
didn't.
Here.
You were here.
Studio. I was setting up all this.
All this.
Yes.
Well, it looks good, dude. Great work.
Great. Yeah. Great.
If you guys do want to join the Washed Up Dirt Bikers Association, feel free to go to shopverb.com, as you can see on the front of our new desk here. Before we get started on the recap today, we must mention we have SummerSlam at Lincoln Trail, Illinois next weekend, brother. September
13th and through 15th.
17th and 18th.
17th and 18th.
SummerSlam next weekend, the 17th and 18th at Lincoln Trail. We're going to have lots of fun. It's a dirt bike festival, and we got pro wrestlers coming in. We're going to do a live podcast there. Unbelievable. It was a great time the last 2 years. Brett Q jumped off the world's largest rocking chair the first year. Last year we brought in the wrestlers. I think Motocross Luther got up in there.
I heard they might be combined this year.
Oh.
With the Mr. Q jumping.
No, are you for
off,
real?
Over. I'm just.
No.
The rumors around the pits.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
All right. Well, Chase, I just mentioned you were not at Loretta's.
I was not.
So.
Which is why we're bringing in people that were.
Hang on. Oh,
well, no, we're not bringing people in.
I was pressing buttons that I shouldn't have been.
Why you're doing that?
Hang on. All right, here it is.
There.
So now, yes, that's why we are going to bring in people.
People
that were at Loretta Lynn's.
How many people?
There's two people that were at Loretta's, another one that wasn't, but we can't leave him off.
Oh, wow.
We got Jason Crane, Brad Gebhardt, Big MX Radio, Troy Dog over there on the right. Welcome to the Washed Up Dirt Bikers Association podcast, boys. I'm sure you heard the spiel at the beginning. We're going to talk about a lot of non-washed up dirt bikers.
What's up, guys? Good to be here. Jason, nice to see you.
Jason Crane, good. Nice to hear you. I'm gonna
media vest on.
Yeah, I haven't taken it off.
Have you watched it yet?
No, why would I do that?
But you Warriors in the Creek, though.
Of course, that's how I watch.
Yeah, I did not. Yep, smart man.
It's got holy water on it.
Everybody give a smell test. Oh,
mine's not good.
That smells flowery. That must have been some Auburn.
I was at Loretta's I was at Loretta's for the last 9 months, it feels like. So yes. I grew my hair out. I now magically have a mullet. It was nice last week, though. It kept all the sun off of my neck.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So saved me from stage 3 skin cancer.
Speaking of washed up dirt bikers, I perma sweat stained almost every shirt from Loretta, so I'm gonna need some new merch, guys. So we can get that at shopper.com, right?
Fair play. Now, Jason and Brad, obviously, our media vests represent the fact that we are at Loretta's. I'll just take this moment to mention, I think it was my 26th consecutive year. Yep, applause around. Thank you, guys.
Okay, it was my second.
Troy, you weren't there, but you did do a lot of watching on Racer TV.
Yeah, I think I watched every moto.
No way.
I want to commend you for that, though, because for only 8 years of my life, you were not at Loretta's.
Wow.
So hold on. Wow. How old's Troy? Hold on. 26, 27, 28.
She's 34.
Well,
yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah, Crane looks a day older than me all the time.
I'm a day older. Troy and I have both celebrated our birthdays collectively together there at the ranch a few years, actually. Both our 21st, I believe, were there too.
That's right. I waited till 11:59 to congratulate Crane on his birthday, and then the next minute I was able to tell Troy it worked out perfectly.
2 and 1.
2 and 1 basically.
Just put a happy birthday in the group chat, and no one knows who it's for.
No one knows who it's for.
They both say thanks, and you're like, cool, two birds, one stone. So a lot happened last week, boys. We're here to break it down. We're going to talk about some standouts, some upsets, some things that maybe didn't go the right way.
It's a long week.
It was a long week. I do want to say, though, pat on the back to Crane and I. I know I'm doing a lot of patting on the back here, but we ran Radio Fox this week, just him and I. We filmed a load of motos. We set up a load of technical equipment, tore down a load of technical equipment, all to do it again and again and again. But Crane, I want to ask you what your favorite moment of Radio Fox was this year, because I have a few, but there's one specific one.
I have okay, so my favorite moment of Radio Fox is actually off air, and it was just hearing Kevin Windham just talk about stories I don't know if we can talk about. We probably couldn't talk about them on Radio Fox. We could talk about them here, but maybe not. But that was just really cool hanging out with all of those guys. Seeing Jimmy Hill, getting to meet his agent Dougie, that was awesome. And then back to Kevin Windham stealing the show, he had a hilarious story about a deer living a happy life, and that's probably my favorite moment of Radio Fox.
I saw someone on the YouTube call him out and say, "There's no way that he didn't eat that deer."
Straight up, dude. That's why
the deer lived a happy life while it was alive for 9 months.
He goes, his exact words were, "The deer ran off and found a husband and went off into the woods, and you had a happy life."
Yep. All right. Well, my favorite moment, ironically, is also Kevin Windham being in there. We started writing some discussion points on the board for them to talk about, and we wanted to keep the episodes to 12 minutes, Chase, as you know. Kevin Windham started talking, and I think I just started fanboying. My mouth just went further and further down, and I finally had
48 minutes in.
Yeah. We looks over at me and was like, "Does Wes need to pick his jaw up off the floor?" And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, guys, it's time to wrap it up. I'm sorry. So that was really fun. It was a great week, and to cap it off with Kevin Windham as our industry guest on that last night was a lot of fun.
Amazing.
His voice is just so soothing. And it's always just like, it's never wasted words. It's always like a very good message or point. Or I think my favorite quote or whatever he had, and it's not verbatim, is we ran on social. It's the, this is a badge of honor.
Yep.
Like, don't let this week ruin. And I think you and I were talking about this before we got on here, is like, there's a lot of pressure on this 1 week, but like, it's not make or break. There's Dungy, there's a lot of guys that haven't won.
But all these kids wouldn't know that. Like, they think it is the make or break week. And what we said before this is Avery Long. What if he had gone and smoked Drew Adams at 14 other like local or mid-sized races this year?
Yes.
Could or couldn't have happened. It's obviously hypothetical, but like, he would have had a chance to prove it himself. But now he had this one race, and now everybody thinks Drew Adams is untouchable.
Well,
and he might be. Not saying he's not.
Something else we might get into that we did a little series, I think, that's coming out is maybe which one?
People do need to race.
Avery needs to race. All off.
You know what Drew does a lot?
Races.
He races.
He races
a lot.
And
he's going straight back to Canada to go finish racing.
And he came in straight from Canada. Brad was on the same flight, I think.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, he was sitting in the middle. I don't know who scheduled him a middle seat, but he was a trooper. He's also pretty bad at man spreading. I don't really want to get too much into that, but taking up a lot of room and taking up a lot of W's last week. I was impressed.
Let's talk about our favorite topic.
I think we got to talk about this guy right here.
Did you vote for him?
Oh yes, I did. It is Jason Lawrence.
Jason Lawrence.
Not only did he show up, he raced every moto, including a 7 a.m. moto.
Yep.
And he got a top 5.
Yep.
I'll kick it off with you because you were there with him for documenting his week, which will also be on VurbMoto.
Yep.
Were you surprised not only at the racing, but that he showed up and did all the racing and stayed there all week?
Just from our conversations, I was confident he was going to show up. I just didn't know what J-Law was going to show up, but I can tell you from Sunday afternoon, Monday morning, he was already the locked-in dude, and it was pretty much a don't speak unless spoken to kind of situation. I learned that right off the rip, even on practice day where I thought it was going to be a little bit more loose. He basically asked me to shut the up and back up and film from across the way. And in so many words, that might have been those exact ones. So that's kind of what I did the whole rest of the week. Luckily, Sean Hackley jumped in as his mechanic. I had a mic on him, but I tried my best to be a true moto spy because he looked at me and he's like, "Hey, dude, you being 3 feet away from me ain't no moto spy." I was like, "Fair play, dude."
I gotta say it's not wrong.
Yeah, I'd say it away from him as much as I could. I tried to let him know that I wasn't even there. I'll say J-Law, his focus was like off the charts. Like I haven't seen J-Law focus like that since he was doing J-Law things. And he even made a comment off the when he was on the underneath the tent, and he goes, "Man, everybody's coming up and asking me like, are you in a bad mood? We're not in a bad mood. We're just going racing." So like you could tell he was back, you know?
Yeah. Yep. Now, Brad, I'm curious. What did you think J-Law would do heading into the ranch?
Oh, this guy is the ultimate wild card as far as his career, his actions, his behavior. But I'll say this: a guy that has that loyal of a following, a huge amount of people who do stick up for him on social media because he's got that 250 championship and he has a ton of skill on a bike. I got to think that in that moment, he chose to lock in. And I think it's something that he is capable of, but not something that he's willing to do on a regular basis. I was impressed that he was able to sort of put the snarl on and perform. Like, you look at that the list of guys that he raced in the age class, and that was a lot. There's a lot of guys who had pretty good pro careers or have been really, really good in the past. So I honestly didn't know what to expect, but I did expect him to ride the best of his ability to show up for the people who believe in him.
Now, Troy, they didn't have Racer TV going on the Monday, so you might have watched every moto.
Bummer.
But maybe you were watching live timing during practice. I'm not sure. But I will say, from my vantage point, on practice day, he was just out there learning the track, doing J-Law things. But when he came off, I was like, oof. Like, he was 8 seconds or 9 seconds, I think. He didn't wear his transponder, but I could just tell by that look. He was significantly off the pace, like Jacob Hayes or Heath Harrison. So, I don't know what my expectation was really going in. I thought top 15, to be real. I never dreamed he would do what he did. So Troy, I'm just curious. I'm sure you looked at his practice times on Monday, but like, where did you see him stacking up?
Well, I want to go back before that because a month before that, you're like, hey, I want to do this project. I'm like, Wes, are you sure, dude? Like, I don't even know if he's going to show up. And if he does, like, what kind of frame of mind is he going to be in? And we had this conversation like once or twice. So the fact that he showed up, I had higher expectations, I think. I'm going to come in it from a different angle. I really thought he'd be at least fourth because
Really?
Well, it's J-Law.
Wow. Yeah, I also
the guy raced pro like 2 years ago.
But to your point, Troy, like, I didn't expect Hayes to do what he did. So, like, I see where you're coming from.
I had some kind of insider. I know Hayes has been riding a lot, and I know he's been working on some things. So I knew he'd be awesome. I mean, Heath Harrison's always amazing, obviously. But, like, I thought, fourth, like, once put off the podium. I thought he'd get on the podium at least once. I really did.
I'm all right with that, Troy, because you're right. I mean, if you really look back at the careers of J-Law and Jacob Hayes and Heath Harrison, and I mean, J-Law was quite a bit better than them. More talented. I mean, but
it's been a long time.
I know.
He raced the Marina Cross.
When was J-Law's last actual professional race? Like 2013?
Professional?
I don't even know that stat, but
that's.
I think it's before that.
450 class in 2011.
Yeah, I think that might be it.
And that might be it.
I thought he did some Marina Cross though.
14 years.
No, he never did arena. He was supposed to.
He was supposed to. Okay, maybe not. Maybe that's a bad take.
Canadian championship more recently than he has professional gate drop.
I think if you give the guy another year, maybe he's up there in the mix. But I will say this: he was on a 22 KX 450, pretty much zero help. He was his own mechanic. Dude, his bolts are falling out, and he legitimately told us and Kyle Swanson that he was taking out selective bolts because he can't afford tie bolts. So he's like, he would take out selective bolts in order to shave weight on his bike. So he probably has 600 hours on that bike. Who knows if he's ever changed the top end. He didn't put new tires on it until after practice, which he hasn't ever done, basically, it sounds like. He didn't change the clutch before Loretta's. It was crazy to me that the bike finished.
Wow.
But I will say this. I was, after Washougal, he went out and rode 4,000 laps that day?
Yeah.
I knew he had the stamina, so it was just crazy to see. I was like, you know what, let's see what happens at the ranch, because he did mention at Washougal he loved the ranch. So I was like, you know what, this could play into his favor. And it did. If you go look at his lap times, it kind of took him a few laps every moto to figure out the track.
Yeah.
But then his lap times dropped consistently.
I got to watch him play J-Law games too. When there was somebody on him and they followed the same rut, he would stop in that rut and screw them up and keep going. So, like, you're still messing with a Supercross champ there. You know what I mean? He still had J-Law games, and that was awesome to see.
Agreed. And what I find crazy, and then we'll move on, the dude would get underneath the tent. He'd be, like, the first moto, he was so pissed off at sixth place. I was like, yeah! He just ran off. He doesn't want... Someone poured water on him, and it made him so mad. I didn't see him drink water underneath the tent. Everybody else is just guzzling water, having the air blowers on him. Sean tried to blow a blower on him after the moto, and he's like, get that shit away from me. And I'm like, oh.
Do you just light up a black and mild after?
Straight up, he did.
No,
I think the second moto he went and smoked a
gangster.
black and mild.
That's gangster.
So I mean, I guess that's worth mentioning too. Like, wait till you guys see this doco. I mean, we're gonna use the doco term loosely here. I don't know that I documented a lot of things.
You documented his return to the ranch.
I probably didn't get it documented in the depth that I wanted to because it does take a lot of time and effort to do that, and just
Jason
knowing how
didn't allow for it.
Yeah, he wanted to kind of be in his own program, in his own head, and I felt that right off the rip. And then Scott Sepkovic came in the middle of the week. They kind of got into it, and Scott was going to kind of be my thread. Yeah. So the fact that he didn't really come till Wednesday night, like it was just tough. But I got a lot of really cool footage, and we're going to figure out how to put it together. And I still think it's a great story. And again, I said this before, but this is his story to tell, and I'm glad the first chapter went really well.
Yeah.
And from what he's told me, and I wish we had got this on video, but his ambitions are to be, by the time he's 85 years old or whatever it is and he passes away, he wants to be the most winning rider at Loretta Lynn's. So he's got like 20 championships to go, but he truly thinks that he can win like plus 50 in another class, give him a few years of training. He thinks he can win plus 40 and plus 50 for that amount of years.
Mike Brown's like 65 and still winning. So.
He's got his work cut out for him.
Though, how dare you besmirch the good name of Sean Hackley as mechanic?
How did I besmirch it?
He said he didn't have a mechanic. Yeah, I have a Polaroid of Sean on the line.
Okay. Sean held his bike on the line. Does that count as a mechanic?
Sure. So did Davey Coombs actually.
So did I. I was actually the first mechanic, and then I passed it. No, Ben Rodel was the first mechanic. For some reason, Ben Rodel got fired the first day, and then I was up there, and J Law looks at me. I'm in staging, and he goes, "Wes, filming is cool and all, but I need a mechanic." And he hands me his bike, and I'm like, "Sick." All right. And then I saw Davey walk by, and I said, "Davey, it's really cool and all? You being a mechanic and me getting to film." And so he jumped on the bike, and then he was actually going to go do pit board and everything for Jason. Wow. And then Sean came along and took responsibility. So either way, that was a really cool thing.
Awesome.
All right, enough J-Law. Let's talk about some the power moves.